弦巻マキ朗読会へようこそ。今回はグリム童話からハンス・イン・ラック、幸運なハンスを読み上げます。まずは英文から、その後仮訳の日本文を読み上げますね。Hans in luck. Some men are born to good luck. All they do or try to do comes right out that falls. To them is so much gale their geese are swans so their cards are trumps toss them, which way you will. They will always like porpoise alight upon their legs, and only move on so much the faster. The world may very likely not always think of them as they think of themselves, but what care they for the world? What can it know about the matter? One of these lucky beings was neighbor Hans. 7 long years he had worked hard for his master. At last he said, "Master, my time is up. I must go home and see my poor mother once more, so pray pay me my wages and let me go." And the master said, "You have been a faithful and good servant, Hans, so your pay shall be handsome." Then he gave him a lump of silver as big as his head. Hans took out his pocket handkerchief, put the piece of silver into it, threw it over his shoulder, and jogged off on his road homewards. As he went lazily on, dragging one foot after another, a man came in sight, trotting gaily along on a capital horse. "Ah," said Hans aloud, "what a fine thing it is to ride on horseback! There he sits as easy and happy as if he was at home, in the chair by his fireside. He trips against no stones save sure leather, and gets on he hardly knows how." Hans did not speak so softly, but the horseman heard it all, and said, "Well, friend, why do you go on foot then?" "Ah," said he, "I have this load to carry. To be sure it is silver, but it is so heavy that I can't hold up my head, and you must know it hurts my shoulder." "Sadly, what do you say of making an exchange?" said the horseman. "I will give you my horse, and you shall give me the silver, which will save you a great deal of trouble in carrying such a heavy load about with you." "With all my heart," said Hans, "but as you are so kind to me, I must tell you one thing. You will have a weary task to draw that silver about with you." However, the horseman got off, took the silver, helped Hans up, gave him the bridle into one hand and the whip into the other, and said, "When you want to go very fast, smack your lips loudly together and cry 'Jip.'" Hans was delighted as he sat on the horse, drew himself up, squared his elbows, turned out his toes, cracked his whip, and rode merrily off, 1 minute whistling a merry tune, and another singing, "No care and no sorrow, a fig for the morrow. We'll laugh and be merry, sing nay down dairy." After a time he thought he should like to go a little faster, so he smacked his lips and cried, "Jip." Away went the horse full gallop, and before Hans knew what he was about, he was thrown off and lay on his back by the roadside. His horse would have run off if a shepherd who was coming by driving a cow had not stopped it. Hans soon came to himself and got upon his legs again, sadly vexed, and said to the shepherd, "This riding is no joke. When a man has the luck to get upon a beast like this that stumbles and flings him off as if it would break his neck. However, I'm off now once for all. I like your cow now a great deal better than this smart beast that played me this trick and has spoiled my best coat you see in this puddle, which by the by smells not very like nonsense. One can walk along at one's leisure behind that cup, good company, and have milk, butter, and cheese every day into the bargain. What would I give to have such a prize?" "Well," said the shepherd, "if you are so fond of her, I will change my cow for your horse. I like to do good to my neighbors, even though I lose by it myself." "Done," said Hans merrily, "what a noble heart that good man has," thought he. Then the shepherd jumped upon the horse, wished Hans and the cow good morning, and away he rode. Hans brushed his coat, wiped his face and hands, rested a while, and then drove off his cow quietly, and thought his bargain a very lucky one. If I have only a piece of bread, and I certainly shall always be able to get that I can. Whenever I like eat my butter and cheese with it, and when I am thirsty I can milk my cow and drink the milk, and what can I wish for more? When he came to an inn, he halted, ate up all his bread, and gave away his last penny for a glass of beer. When he had rested himself he set off again, driving his cow towards his mother's village. But the heat grew greater as soon as noon came on till at last, as he found himself on a white heath that would take him more than an hour to cross, he began to be so hot and parched that his tongue clave to the roof of his mouth. I can find a cure for this, thought he. Now I will milk my cow and quench my thirst. So he tied her to the stump of a tree and held his leathern cap to milk into, but not a drop was to be had. Who would have thought that this cow, which was to bring him milk and butter and cheese, was all the time utterly dry? Hans had not thought of looking to that. While he was trying his luck in milking and managing the matter very clumsily, the uneasy beast began to think him very troublesome, and at last gave him such a kick on the head as knocked him down, and there he lay a long while senseless. Luckily a butcher soon came by, driving a pig in a wheelbarrow. "What is the matter with you, my man?" said the butcher as he helped him up. Hans told him what had happened, how he was dry and wanted to milk his cow, but found the cow was dry too. Then the butcher gave him a flask of ale, saying, "There, drink and refresh yourself. Your cow will give you no milk, don't you see? She is an old beast, good for nothing but the slaughterhouse." "Alas, alas," said Hans, "who would have thought it? What a shame to take my horse and give me only a dry cow. If I kill her, what will she be good for? I hate cow beef. It is not tender enough for me. If it were a pig now, only the fat gentleman you are driving along at his inn could do something with it. It would at any rate make sausages." "Well," said the butcher, "I don't like to say no when one is asked to do a kind, neighborly thing. To please you I will change and give you my fine fat pig for the cow." "Heaven reward you for your kindness and self-denial," said Hans as he gave the butcher the cow, and taking the pig off the wheelbarrow, drove it away, holding it by the string that was tied to its leg. So he jogged, and all seemed now to go right with him. He had met with some misfortunes, to be sure, but he was now well repaid for all. How could it be otherwise with such a traveling companion as he had at last got? The next man he met was a countryman carrying a fine white goose. The countryman stopped to ask what was o'clock. This led to further chat, and Hans told him all his luck, how he had so many good bargains, and how all the world went gay and smiling with him. The countryman then began to tell his tale, and said he was going to take the goose to a christening. "Feel," said he, "how heavy it is, and yet it is only 8 weeks old. Whoever roasts and eats it will find plenty of fat upon it. It has lived so well." "You are right," said Hans as he weighed it in his hand, "but if you talk of fat, my pig is no trifle." Meantime the countryman began to look grave and shook his head. "Harkee," said he, "my worthy friend, you seem a good sort of fellow, so I can't help doing you a kind turn. Your pig may get you into a scrape. In the village I just came from, the squire has had the pig stolen out of his sty. I was dreadfully afraid when I saw you that you had got the squire's pig. If you have and they catch you, it will be a bad job for you. The least they will do will be to throw you into the horse pond. Can you swim?" Poor Hans was sadly frightened. "Good man," cried he, "pray get me out of this scrape. I know nothing of where the pig was either bred or born, but he may have been the squire's fault. I can't tell you know this country better than I do. Take my pig and give me the goose." "I ought to have something into the bargain," said the countryman. "Give a fat goose for a pig, indeed. 'Tis not everyone would do so much for you as that. However, I will not be hard upon you, as you're in trouble. Then he took the string in his hand and drove off the pig by a side path, while Hans went on the way. Hans was free from care. After all, thought he, that chap is pretty well taken in. I don't care whose pig it is, but wherever it came from, it has been a very good friend to me. I have much the best of the bargain. First there will be a capital roast, then the fat will find me in goose grease for 6 months, and then there are all the beautiful white feathers. I will put them into my pillow, and then I am sure I shall sleep soundly without walking. How happy my mother will be. Talk of a pig, indeed, give me a fine fat goose. As he came to the next village, he saw a scissor grinder with his wheel, working and singing. Oh, a hill and oh, a dale. So happy I roam. Work light and lie well. Oh, the world is my home. Then who so bright, so merry as I? Hans stood looking on for a while, and at last said, You must be well off, Master Grinder. You seem so happy at your work. Yes, said the other, mine is a golden trade. A good grinder never puts his hand into his pocket without finding money in it. Where did you get that beautiful goose? I did not buy it. I gave a pig for it. And where did you get the pig? I gave a cow for it and the cow. I gave a horse for it and the horse. I gave a lump of silver, as big as my head, for it and the silver. Oh, I worked hard for that 7 long years. You have thriven well in the world hitherto, said the grinder. Now, if you could find money in your pocket whenever you put your hand in it, your fortune would be made. Very true. But how is that to be managed? How? Why, you must stand grinder like myself, said the other. You only want a grindstone. The rest will come of itself. Here is one that is but little the worse, for where I would not ask more than the value of your goose for it will you buy. How can you ask, said Hans. I should be the happiest man in the world if I could have money whenever I put my hand in my pocket. What could I want more? There's the goose. Now, said the grinder, as he gave him a common rough stone that lay by his side, this is a most capital stone. Do but work it well enough, and you can make an old nail cut with it. Hans took the stone and went his way with a light heart. His eyes sparkled for joy, and he said to himself, Surely I must have been born in a lucky hour. Everything I could want or wish for comes of itself. People are so kind. They seem really to think I do them a favor in letting them make me rich and giving me good bargains. Meantime he began to be tired and hungry too, for he had given away his last penny in his joy at getting the cow. At last he could go no further, for the stone tired him sadly, and he dragged himself to the side of a river that he might take a drink of water and rest a while. So he laid the stone carefully by his side on the bank. But as he stooped down to drink, he forgot it, pushed it a little, and down it rolled, plump into the stream. For a while he watched it sinking in the deep, clear water, then sprang up and danced for joy, and again fell upon his knees and thanked heaven, with tears in his eyes, for its kindness in taking away his only prey, the ugly heavy stone. How happy am I, cried he. Nobody was ever so lucky as I. Then up he got with a light heart, free from all his troubles, and walked until he reached his mother's house, and told her how very easy the road to good luck was. それでは AI を活用して作成した仮訳を読んでいきます。幸運なハンス。あるものは生まれながらにして運が良い。何をしても、何を試みてもうまくいく。手に入れるものはすべて得であり、彼らのガチョウはすべて白鳥で、手にしたカードはすべて切り札。どんな向きに放っても、猫のように必ず足から着地して、しかもより早く前に進むのだ。世の中の人々が彼らをどう思うかは、本人たちの考えと一致しないかもしれない。だが彼らはそんなこと気にしない。世の中にそのことがわかるはずがないからだ。そんな幸運な男の一人が、隣人のハンスだった。ハンスは7年間、主人のもとで懸命に働いた。 ついにこう言った。ご主人様、私の務めは終わりました。そろそろ家に帰って、年老いた母にもう一度会いたいのです。ですから、どうかお給金を払っていただいて、帰らせてください。主人は言った。ハンス、お前は忠実で良い働き手だった。だから立派な報酬をあげよう。そう言って、彼の頭ほどもある大きな銀の塊を渡した。ハンスはハンカチを取り出して銀の塊を包み、それを肩に担ぎ、のんびりと家路に着いた。だらだらと歩いていると、立派な馬に乗って陽気にやってくる男が見えた。ハンスは思わず言った。馬に乗るっていいもんだな。あの人は、まるで暖炉のそばの椅子に座ってるみたいに楽しそうだ。石に足をぶつけることもないし、靴も減らないし、気がつけばどんどん進んでいく。その声を聞いた騎士が言った。なら、なんで歩いてるんだい？ハンスは答えた。いや、この荷物があるんですよ。銀ですけど、とにかく重くて、頭も上げられないし、肩が痛くて仕方ないんです。だったら、こうしよう。俺の馬と君の銀を交換しないか？重い荷物を担がなくて済むぞ。それはありがたい、とハンスは言った。でも親切にしてもらったから一つ忠告します。その銀を運ぶのは大変ですよ。騎士は馬から降りて銀を受け取り、ハンスを馬に乗せて、手綱と鞭を渡していった。早く走らせたいときは、唇を鳴らして、ジップって叫ぶんだ。ハンスは馬に乗れて大喜び。背筋を伸ばし、肘を張って、つま先を外に向け、鞭を鳴らして陽気に走り出した。口笛を吹いたり、こんな歌を歌ったりした。悩みも悲しみもない。明日のことなど気にしない。笑って陽気に歌おう。ネイダウン、デリー。しばらくするともっと早く走りたくなって、唇を鳴らして、ジップ、と叫んだ。すると馬は猛スピードで駆け出し、ハンスはあっという間に振り落とされて道端に投げ出された。もし通りかかった羊飼いが牛を連れていなければ、馬はそのまま走り去っていただろう。ハンスは意識を取り戻して立ち上がり、がっかりして言った。乗馬ってのは大したもんじゃないな。こんな粗暴な馬じゃ首が折れるところだった。それに比べて、あなたの牛の方がずっといい。のんびり歩けて、一緒にいれば寂しくもないし、毎日ミルクもバターもチーズも手に入る。こんな素敵な牛、ぜひ欲しいな。羊飼いは言った。そんなに気に入ったのなら、俺の牛と君の馬を交換してやってもいい。損しても隣人に親切にするのが俺の主義さ。それはありがたい、とハンスは大喜び。なんて心の広い人だ、と心の中で思った。羊飼いは馬に乗って立ち去り、ハンスは牛を連れてのんびり歩いた。パンさえあれば、それにバターとチーズを乗せて食べられるし、喉が渇けばミルクが飲める。これ以上何が必要だろう。やがてハンスは宿屋に着いて、手持ちのパンを全部食べ、最後の一銭でビールを飲んだ。その後、また歩き出して牛を家の村へと連れて行ったが、昼になると日差しが強くなり、広い荒れ野に差し掛かると、喉がカラカラになって舌が口の上についた。よし、牛のミルクを飲もう、と考え、木の切り株に牛を縛り、革の帽子でミルクを受けようとした。ところが、全くミルクが出なかった。実はこの牛、全くの乳なしだったのだ。ハンスはそのことを確認していなかったのだ。ミルクを絞ろうと苦戦していると、牛がイライラして、ハンスの頭を後ろ足で蹴飛ばした。ハンスは気絶してしばらく倒れていた。運よく、そこへ車輪付きの手押し車で豚を運んでいた肉屋が通りかかり、ハンスを起こしてくれた。ハンスはこれまでの経緯を話し、牛にミルクをもらおうとしたが、出なかった、と嘆いた。肉屋はビールを飲ませてくれながら言った。この牛は年を取ってて、もうミルクなんて出ないよ。食肉にするしかない。え？とハンスは泣きそうになった。牛肉なんて硬いし嫌いだ。あの立派な豚だったら、ソーセージにでもできるのに。肉屋は言った。まあ、困ってる人には親切にするもんさ。俺の太った豚と君の牛を交換してやろう。神様があなたに報いてくれますように、とハンスは感謝しながら、牛を渡して豚を引き連れて歩き出した。しばらくすると、 立派な白いガチョウを抱えた農夫と出会った。農夫は時間を尋ね、それがきっかけで会話が弾み、ハンスはこれまでの幸運な取引を話した。農夫は、このガチョウは生後8週だけど、こんなに太ってる。ローストすれば油がたっぷりだ、と言った。ハンスは豚の方が立派だと言いながらも、農夫が真剣な顔をするのを見て驚いた。さっきの村で、豚の盗難があったんだ。お前さんの豚、それじゃないかと心配になったよ。見つかれば池に放り込まれるぞ。泳げるのか？ハンスは青ざめ、助けてくれ、と懇願した。豚がどこで生まれたかなんて知らないけど、あんたが詳しいなら、俺の代わりに豚を持って行ってくれ。ガチョウと交換してくれ。農夫は、普通なら損だけど、困ってるなら仕方ない、とガチョウと交換してくれた。ハンスはほっとして歩きながら思った。素晴らしい取引だった。ローストにもなるし、油は6ヶ月も使えるし、羽毛は枕に入れたらよく眠れるぞ。母さんもきっと喜ぶ。次の村で、ハンスはハサミ研ぎ職人に出会い、職人の歌を聴いた。丘を越え谷を越え。楽しく旅する研ぎ屋かな。軽く働いてよく食べて。この世のどこも我が家なり。ハンスは、あなたの仕事は楽しそうだ、と言い、職人も、この仕事は金が入るんだ、と自慢した。ところで、そのガチョウは、と聞かれ、ハンスは交換の経緯をすべて語った。職人は言った。君はこれまでうまくやってきた。あとはポケットに手を入れるたびに金が入れば完璧だ。俺と同じ研ぎ屋になればいい。石さえあれば、あとはなんとかなる。彼はその場にあった砥石をガチョウと交換しようと提案した。ハンスは、夢のようだ、と快諾し、砥石をもらって旅を続けた。だが、しばらく歩くと疲れと空腹が襲ってきた。砥石も重く、とうとう川のそばで休もうとした。砥石を岸に置いて水を飲もうとしたとき、誤って石を押してしまい、砥石は川へドボンと落ちて沈んでいった。それを見て、ハンスは飛び上がって喜び、ひざまずいて天に感謝した。なんて幸せなんだ、厄介な石がなくなった。こうして、心も体も軽くなったハンスは、母の家まで楽しく歩いて帰り、幸運なんて、実に簡単に手に入るんだよ、と彼女に話した。この物語、ハンス、イン、ラック、幸運なハンスの教訓は、一言で言えば、満足を知る者は幸せである。物語の主人公ハンスは、持っていた銀を次々に交換し、最終的には何も持たずに母の元へ帰ります。普通なら、損ばかりしている、と思うような展開ですが、ハンスは常に今の自分が一番幸せだ、と感じているのです。具体的な教訓としては、物質的な豊かさより、心の在り方が幸せを決める。ハンスは何かを失うたびに、今の方がいい、と思い込むことで、常に幸福を感じています。執着を手放せば、心は軽くなる。最後に重たい石を川に落としてしまったとき、ハンスは、これで完全に自由になれた、と喜びます。実際には損をしていますが、心の重荷が取れたことに感謝しているのです。無知はある種の幸福でもある。ハンスは、運がいい、と思い込んでいますが、実際は騙され続けているとも言えます。ですが、本人が幸せなら、それはそれで一つの幸せの形かもしれません。現代的な視点で見ると、この物語は楽観主義の力やミニマリズム、最小限主義とも重なります。必要以上のものを求めず、今あるもので満足する心が真の幸福につながるという価値観です。最後までご視聴いただきありがとうございました。誤り等を見つけられましたら、コメントでご指摘いただけるとありがたいです。この動画が少しでもあなたのお役に立つと嬉しいです。このチャンネルでは、いろいろな版権フリーの文章を読み上げていきます。もしもお気持ちが許せば、高評価とコメント、チャンネル登録等をお願いいたします。ニコニコでご覧の方はフォローといいねをお願いします。またお会いできる日を楽しみにしています。